Hey kitties, what up, what up? Welcome to Primal Scream. This is your host, Nick Graystone. For the next hour, we're going to talk about fantasy, reality, and everything in between. Let's go. Hey kitties, what up, what up? Welcome to Primal Scream. This is your host, Nick Graystone. For the next hour, we're going to talk about...
Hey, what up, kitties? It's been a while. I missed you. Well, here I am, back in the flesh. Episode 3 and of Primal Scream with Nick Graystone. Like always, I'm Nick Graystone. So how's everybody been? I got lots to talk about tonight. Just a lot of cool stuff, some sad stuff, and like always, entertaining stuff as well. So hope everyone is good. I'm hanging in there, but we'll get into that. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about. So like 2 weeks ago, me and Zoe had an awesome weekend together. We actually started out going to medieval times, and I haven't been there since like when I was a senior in high school. It was like our senior class trip or whatever, and it was a blast. We had such a fun time. We were in the section for the white and black night, and so Zoe loves tomato soup. She's like one of these kids, man. She's definitely my daughter. She doesn't she's not a picky eater or whatever. So they give you the appetizer of like tomato soup, right? So like she gobbles it down. Didn't matter if it like singed her like vocal cords, it was hot or whatever. She, drinks it and she looks at me. She's like, "Daddy, you think they got some more like tomato soup?" So I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I'll ask the guy." So the guy comes over and I'm like, "Listen, you got any more tomato soup?" So he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he gives me the tomato soup for her, and then he asks if I want it. So I'm like, "Sure, yeah, I'll have the tomato soup too." So we both had double tomato soup. Then we eat the dinner, which is like chicken with your bare hands and like, some potatoes and stuff, kind of greasy. And we're watching the fights and the festivities or whatever. All of a sudden, I start getting the gurgles, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to like totally shit my pants. With that, Zoe pokes me, and she's like, "Daddy, I got to go to the bathroom really bad." And I'm like, all right. So we have to leave the competition. So now me and my kid are playing battle shits next to each other. And we're missing the competition. So we have to get back upstairs. So now maybe there's about another like 10 minutes left. I sit down. All of a sudden, I get the fucking worst Charlie horse in the world. Now, I don't know if you've been to medieval times, but the way how it's set up is it's kind of, me anywhere is a tight squeeze. So this is a real tight squeeze for me. I'm in there and I'm like trying to keep my legs straight because the Charlie horse is going on, and I'm like trying to like wiggle around, and I just look at Zoe. I'm like, "Baby, I'm sorry. I got to get up. I got to walk this off." So we ended up missing the crowning ceremony, but in hindsight, it didn't matter because our knight got his ass kicked. He got killed a little bit before that, so he definitely wasn't winning. So we had to leave because of Charlie Horse. And but all in all, we had a great time. So the reason why we were in Jersey, actually, because it was the next day, we were going to a convention. And we ran into some very cool meet and greets. We ended up meeting the cast of the cult classic Fright Night. You see that picture I put up right there? That's Chris Sarandon with the mask on. And Marcy Darcy from Married with Children is to the left. She's in that movie. She plays Amy. And Stephen Jeffries plays Evil Ed. He's in the picture. Jonathan Stark was Chris Sarandon's best friend. He plays in the movie, as well as Charlie Brewster, who's my God, I can't recall his name right now. I can't. Oh man, I'm going blank. It'll come back to me. Anyway, the woman that's standing next to him plays his mom. Now, I never knew this, but she has a little small cameo in Jaws. She was originally supposed to play Chrissy Watkins, but they needed a stunt woman. You know, the girl gets killed in the beginning of the movie, but they ended up putting her when there's the mass hysteria at the beach, and she's deadpanning looking in the camera, and she's just like, oh my God, and she freaks out. She's the one that starts screaming, and then everyone starts screaming because they think there's a shark that's in the movie. William Ragsdale, that's the dude. That's his name. Well, anyway, and Dorothy Felding, she's the woman that played Charlie's mom. Very awesome meet and greet to meet them. You know, it's a cult classic for me. I love that movie. And then we ran into the Grimm Collective. That's they have a great following on YouTube. They actually did a review on the Forest Hills. They filmed it for us, and Zoe's been watching their channel, and she's a big fan. So they remembered me from the screening, which was pretty cool. Kind of felt cool in front of my kid because I asked about the movie or whatever, which, if you're inquiring, it is in the final stages right now to being signed and distributed. We're looking into doing some Blu-ray release as well. If you're into it, send a DM to me with your email address and I can get you that information. So, that was a cool little meet and greet. And then we saw Eric Roberts, and Eric Roberts, he's in one of my favorite movies of all time. I haven't seen it in a while, but I just recently watched it again, and that's The Pope of Greenwich Village. He plays next to Mickey Rourke, and it's just a very funny movie. He's very eccentric in the movie, and there's so many quotes. And one of my favorites is when he's talking about the suit in the beginning. So I mentioned that to him, and he had a cool picture from that movie. So he signed a picture for me, and I got that framed now. So it was cool meeting him, and he loves Zoe. He was asking me, like, oh man, where did she get a style from? It's not he was like, can't be a secret. It's got to be from you. And I'm like, nah, man, she works a room just like herself, so she's her own person. But it was definitely cool meeting him. So it was a great weekend, and on Sunday, we were ready to come home, and I was getting ready, and all of a sudden, I was in the shower, and Zoe's knocking on the door, and she's like, hey, Daddy, you got a phone call from a friend named Terry. Now, Terry was a mutual friend. I really don't talk to Terry very often, but Terry was calling me because he heard a rumor that one of my friends had passed away. So I was in shock because I hadn't heard anything, but turned out to be true. My good friend Michael Porciello, a.k.a. Michael Myers at Schmidt's Farm Haunt, passed away untimely at age 49. And it's just been a rough week dealing with that. When you have relatives that pass away and, they're older in age and stuff, that's just how life is. But, when you go to a wake that's of a close friend and, someone close to your age, it really hits home. And this is just a guy that was just so, such a nice guy, man. Like, just always checked in on me when I was, down and out with stuff going through, the last couple of years. And it was just a real shock to me to hear that he had passed away. I'm definitely going to miss him and his crazy antics that he would do. He would talk backwards, and we would talk about horror movies, and we just got each other, So, Mike, if you are listening, I know you're close by, bro. I miss you, man, and you're definitely one in a million, man. Like, there's never going to be anyone like you, brother. And I appreciate all the fun times that we had and everything, dude. So, yeah. Sorry to start this podcast off on a somber note, but I wanted to give you tribute to my good friend. So yeah, that's to Mike Porciello. I hope you you rest in peace, my friend. So from there, dude, the Reaper did not stop. Then I hear, which it didn't affect me obviously as much as my friend, but there was two wrestlers that I looked up to, growing up to one, and then I really became attached to another one because he had a cool character. But yeah, Terry Funk passed away at age 79. I heard he was sick. It wasn't really much of a shock. But the next guy that passed away is Bray Wyatt. His real name is Wyndham Rotunda. Famous wrestler. His dad, Mike Rotunda, he was tag champions with Wyndham back in the day, Barry Windham. And he was also gone on to be IRS, but, it's not about him. It's about Bray. Bray was a character. As soon as he came out, he was part of the Wyatt family. He was kind of like a cult following. And he went into do another character, The Fiend. And, he passed away at, I believe, at age 37. And what happened was he had some heart issues once he got contact, had COVID. And he developed some heart issues from there. And I guess he just never fully recovered. So, rest in peace, Terry Funk, and rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. All right, so now that we got, and Bob Barker too. Bob Barker got the closest to 100 that you could possibly get, so the price was definitely right for him. He lived a nice long life, 99 years old. Rest in peace, Bob Barker. You're the man, dude. I loved you. So hopefully the Reaper takes a vacation because it was just way too much. So, all right, we'll shake all that off and get all those tributes out of the way. I wanted to talk about now, based on true stories. I picked four movies and one TV miniseries to talk about this week, and it's based on true events. So I picked my five, not favorites, but five very great adaptations of based on true events. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Dahmer miniseries. Now this, even with me that does not get squeamish with things, I have a very, I could take watching crazy stuff and all that, but this was a hard watch at times because Evan Peters totally transformed himself into Jeffrey Dahmer. Now, you guys know that I'm into the true crime and stuff, and I know so much about this case that, just watching him recreate all this, they really did a great job with this. It was a little Hollywoodized. They did alter some things, but it just made the storytelling a little bit better, I believe. Each episode totally leaves you gutted. There's a Tony episode in it about how Jeffrey Dahmer really became close to one of his victims before he ultimately decided to kill him, like the other 16 that he ended up tallying up. He ended up killing 17 men back in Milwaukee, and he also killed 16 in Milwaukee and one in Ohio. But just an unbelievable miniseries that's available on Netflix. So if you haven't watched it, I can't recommend it for everyone, but if you really want to find out a little bit about Jeffrey Dahmer and how this is a good introduction to that, then maybe you could go back and watch some of the live clips on YouTube and see how great that Evan Peters, he ended up winning awards for it, actually. I believe he's up for an Emmy right now, but I know he won the Golden Globe and some other awards. So moving right along, my next one is Goodfellas. Now, Goodfellas arguably is the greatest gangster movie of all time. I know, people throw their names in the ring, and obviously, Godfather is one of them. Goodfellas is the other one, and I guess the closest other to that is Scarface, which I've talked about last week, or the last time I was on. But this movie, prime De Niro, Pesci, Ray Liotta's role of a lifetime. Scorsese was robbed for not winning the Oscar for this movie. Like, fucking Dances with Wolves won. Like, Dancing with motherfucking wolves. Like, I understand it's a great story and everything, but come on, dude. I mean, this movie from start to finish is just phenomenal character actors. It's all wrapped up in one movie. It's not like a saga like The Godfather. The soundtrack is unbelievable. Like, every time I think about Goodfellas, I think about two key parts in that movie. The first one being Robert De Niro when he's smoking the butt and Sunshine of Your Love is on by Cream, and he's, deciding whether or not he's going to kill Maury that night. And just the way that he's looking, and like you could see like he's in a conversation, but he's not paying attention. He's like looking off to the side. Dude, De Niro is just... he's swinging for the fences with his acting, and I don't even think that he's even like overacting. It's just perfect acting, And the other scene is the Copacabana walk-in. I had said that I met Lorraine Bracco a couple of weeks ago, and I actually asked her about that because it's that steady cam shot where they start from the outside of the club and they walk through the corridors and all through the different entrances, and you're like, hey, I remember you, hey, you, what are you two up to? And like, he's giving the 50 to everybody, and then they ultimately end up in the club and they set the table up. She said that was done 17 times and 17 takes because something along the way would fuck up. Someone would say something or step the wrong way, and Scorsese... I don't know if he's so much of a perfectionist, but he just wants things done the way that he wants them done. Like she said one take was fucked up because she forgot to say her one line at the end, and it was like an awkward pose. So they're like, shit, we just filmed this thing for like 3.5 minutes and it was perfect, but you fucked up your line and we don't want to cut, and insert it because he wanted it done in one shot. So, that's just something like, But yeah, Goodfellas is totally based on a true story about the Lufthansa heist back in the 70s. Keeping with the vibe in New York, I'm going to go into another great classic, Dog Day Afternoon from 1975. So this one was based on the 72 robbery and hostage situation led by John Witowitz, who's played by Al Pacino, and Salvatore Naturali, who's played by John Casale, at a Chase Bank in Brooklyn. So the motive was to help Wojcik pay for a secretly sexual reassignment for his lover, Leon, who is played by Chris Sarandon. So that really was a true story. Like you see that done, they talk about that in the movie. And just, the way that it panned out, Naturally was killed in the bank robbery, like towards the end. I don't know. They didn't get as far as to JFK. I believe they did everything right outside the bank. So they did like Hollywoodize that a little bit, but that's another like quotable movie. Like Charles Durning is brilliant as the detective in that movie. And, just you could feel like when you're watching it, it's a long, hot summer day. You could see them like sweating and everything. And like, it's just drawn out, and the lines that are coming out of Al Pacino, Attica, and like, kiss me. I like to get kissed when I'm getting fucked. When they're trying to give him a deal, and he knows that they're trying to lead him out. So just a little background on that story. So John, he was offered a deal for pleading guilty, which the court did not honor back in 1973. So he was sentenced to 20 years in Lewisburg Federal, which he only served 5. So he was paid $7,500 plus 1% of the film's net profits for the story rights. So this is before the Son of Sam laws, because criminals are not supposed to like make any bank off of their crimes if they make a true story about it. So I guess he was in the right time, because he only did 5 out of 20, which isn't bad. But this is where it kind of gets fucked up, because he really took the money and he paid for his lover to get sexually reassigned. So Leon ended up doing the surgery, and she ended up leaving him after she got the surgery done. She didn't wait for him or anything. So it's kind of sad, like this guy dedicated his life to help his lover pay for, the reassignment, and then she ended up leaving him. That kind of sucks, and leaves makes it even a little bit more of a tragedy. He was released from prison back in 1978, but he was arrested again and served 2 more sentences for parole violations in 1984 and from 1986 to 1987. Leon, who ended up turning into his female name was Eden. She married someone else, and she ended up dying of AIDS on September 29th, 1987. And John Wodick died of cancer January 2nd, 2006, while living with his mom at age 60. So that was just a weird tale. The next movie that I'm going to talk about right now is Air. It's actually one of the newer ones out of the movies, but this is about the story of how Nike ended up signing Michael Jordan to a shoe deal, and it's really brilliantly done. The movie's directed by Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon. He has an amazing role in it. I love how they only show you a silhouette of the guy who plays Michael Jordan, and it's just so the way that the story is. I really didn't know too much about it. But it's basically all the shoe companies trying to fight for Michael's affection. They want to sign him because he's going to be the next big thing. So they have a scene in the movie, which I'm not trying to spoil it or anything, but there's it's when they finally, Nike gets him into a conference room, and they're showing him a slide on basically what the shoe is going to be like, and what he's going to make off of it or whatever. And Matt Damon stops the slideshow, and everyone's sitting in there, all the board is sitting there, it's Chris Tucker and Ben Affleck and Jason Bateman. They're all sitting around, and they're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? We have Michael Jordan in here with his parents. And he just goes through this thing, and he's like, listen, Michael, you're going to be the greatest basketball player of all time. And what's going to happen is the public will build you up only to break you down when you fail. And then you're going to rise up again. And when he's doing this long speech, they're taking real life scenarios that happened to Jordan throughout his life when he became a basketball player. And they're putting those real images in when he's doing it. And it's just a moving scene, because you're like, wow, man, did this really happen, or did they Hollywoodize this? But regardless of the case, it's such a moving scene that come ceremony time and nomination time this year, I feel that Air is going to get nominated for stuff, because it was just so well done. Which brings me to my side note. I hate when anyone is compared to Jordan that's a basketball player, because, come on, there's only one. I understand, LeBron and, Kobe Bryant. They were, Kobe's a fantastic basketball player. LeBron is too, dude. But come on, Jordan, it's the greatest of all time. If you put stat for stat or whatever, anytime that guy ever stepped onto the court, his team was winning. And when he came back, they built it back up. There's only one Jordan, so you can't compare. Let's leave it at that. So the last movie that I was going to discuss is The Social Network. Now, The Social Network is about Facebook. And when I first saw this movie, I wasn't really too excited to see about it, because I'm like, it's going to be a movie about Facebook. How interesting could it be? But was I wrong? David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin was a great team of directing and screenplay. Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails and Atticus Finch have a score that drives this movie, which just make it that much more entertaining. And it just shows you like the greed that was behind it all. And I don't know, this is just like a personal thing. I feel like Facebook is such a great tool to use to communicate and connect, but man, it just made social interaction so much more awkward, and it just makes people more fake. You know, like I like social media because, you know, I put my stuff out there. I like communicating with people that I haven't met before, maybe meeting new friends and stuff. And, you know, great for promotion for my band. And likewise with my friends' bands. You get to see much more. But also, you know too much about people. Like, I could easily run into a friend that I haven't seen from high school in 25 years in the flesh. But I know everything that they're doing. So, like, it's like, hey, what you been up to? Like, I kind of fucking know already because, like, you know, I've seen you post it on your thing, you know. Some people don't post as much. I admit, I'm a Facebook whore. I post everything, you know. I don't know. I like putting it up there, but it definitely changed the way everything is. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it is what it is. So that is my review on those movies and stuff. If you have to check them out, please do so. I give all those, every single one of them, 5 stars. You know, they 5-star rating for me for that. Now, I do have one other movie review that's going to be brief, and I'm only giving this 1 star, and it's The Meg 2. I watched this the other night. I fucking hate myself that I paid $25 to pay for this piece of shit. It's directed by Ben Wheatley, and it's starring Jason Statham. I really wish I could name the movie Beg to End, because, like, I was just waiting for this movie to end. It's nearly 2 hours long, and it just took too long for the payoff that wasn't even satisfying. I mean, I just didn't like it. Maybe if they, you know, made it into 90 minutes and just, you know, went the route that had, like, Piranha, like the remake of Piranha and its sequels approached, like not take itself too seriously. This is just way over the top stuff that happens in like the Fast and Furious movies, which I'm not trying to diss those movies. I kind of like some of them, but like, man, this was just so boring and so unrealistic. I know it's about a megalodon and like it's already far-fetched to begin with, but just like the shit that like Jason Statham does with this shark is just like, yeah, okay, dude, you wouldn't have been ripped to pieces in 2 seconds. Like, it's so ridiculous. So, yeah, 1 star for The Meg 2. Definitely do not rent it. Watch it, like, on demand or whatever. If you're going to watch it for free, it's already up. It's been released 3 weeks ago. It's already up for rental. So, you can only imagine it's going to be free on whatever soon. So, if you want to wait it out, probably in 3 days will be ready for free. You know, they'll probably give it to you with a deal with HBO or whatever. So, with that said, I think it's going to be premiere time for a song. So, the featured artist of the week is none other than DemonScar. We have a new song dropping on Friday, but I couldn't wait. I love breaking Street Date. This song is called The Coldest Hell. Just a little backup story about The Coldest Hell. I wrote this song when I was in Milwaukee back in June. I ended up staying at the Ambassador Hotel in the Jeffrey Dahmer suite. I believe it's room 213. Now, it was a interesting. I'll talk a little bit about it after the song, but this is The Coldest Hell. This is DemonScar, and I hope you like it. Here we go.
never had full control. It's no one's fault but my own. Confused, abandoned, fantasized reality, unrecognized brutality, deep within. Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. I want to stay along with me. The world is knocking up below the street. In plain sight, the number rises, the coldest hell. The air consumes, the smell of death, and no one listens. No one cares, hands clean, blind ignorance. Then one got away. Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. Recognize remorse for unspeakable acts. For what I sowed, the hand of God strikes me down. It's all I wanted, nothing, forevermore. 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 Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. Judgment's dawning, I won't let them in. Our time is over, now my time begins. Trapped down by the hands of God, our time is now, our time is now. Trapped down by the hands of God, our time is now, our time is now. Trapped down by the hands of God, our time is now, our time is now.
All right. There it is. The new DemonScar single. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I like going forward with these tunes now. We're going into different directions and stuff. We're using like more Jared on his vocals. You know, Jared, our drummer, phenomenal job he does on this with the drumming, and it's awesome now because now we're going back and forth, kind of like me and Craig were doing the dual attack. Now it's like a triple attack with like vocals and stuff. And, you know, Jared did a great job with Hand to Kings with the lead vocal on that. And like, you know, just going forward, we have some other stuff that he's going to do and showcase his talents with his vocals. And I feel like this is another example of that. So yeah, the Coldest Hell is going to be out this Friday. And like I said, this was inspired by me staying in the room 213. That's the Jeffrey Dahmer suite at the Ambassador Hotel. I stayed there when we played Milwaukee Metal Fest. I can't say that I felt any uneasy in there. I was kind of drunk when I went back. I only stayed there one night. Maybe I would have been there a couple of days. Maybe I would have felt something. But no, it was just a cool experience to stay there. I can't believe that I was able to get the room. Like I called up actually on the plane. like which you're not supposed to be using a phone call, but I called up and I was like, do you have room 213 available? And they're like, let me see. Yeah, we do. So I'm like, whoa. I'm like, really? No one like booked the room? So I had to book it. I had to see. And I got inspired to write those lyrics. And I didn't want to be like, all right, yeah, we wrote a song about Jeffrey Dahmer and talk about, eating spleens and pancreases and all that shit and, crazy nonsense. This is more like, I guess, the loneliness that he felt. And like when I've said this before, and I hope people don't get the wrong impression of me when I say this, that out of all the serial killers, if I had to feel remorse for one of them, it's Jeffrey Dahmer, because he expressed his remorse. He knew he was a monster. He said he was sorry. 17 people to be sorry for is a little much, but just he owned it. He didn't try to be like, play the role. He didn't want to be like, yeah, I'm an evil man. Like I'm not going to try to assist. He helped them, uncover all the bodies and stuff and try to bring closure to the family. And I can't say I respect him, but for the remorse part, I understood his story a little bit better than just the average spree killer or, serial killer out there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm fucked up, but so speaking about DemonScar, this is about live music in the state of Long Island. So the other night, I'm sitting home, and now this is not a diss, because one of my friends is actually in one of these bands that I'm going to be talking about. He's surrounded himself with phenomenal musicians, but there was 3 Journey tribute bands booked within 10 miles of each other. The Nutty Irishman in Farmingdale, the Jones Beach Bandshell, and the Paramount. Like, 3 Journey bands in 10 miles? I understand, like, people could live off of the, liking 10 songs and hearing them for the rest of their lives, but come on, Long Island, we got to do a little bit better. Like, I know DemonScar is not for everyone. I know we can't play, at like a fucking restaurant and be like, how's your fucking broth? All right, eat it, slurp it down. Like, we're not that type of band. But come on, give some original music out there a chance. Like, it's just unbelievable. And we're not talking about like, ringy-dingy clubs. These are some prime clubs, like the Paramount, the Nutty Irishman, I don't know. I'm just thankful that there's clubs and there's bands and there's places that we could play. And, that's going to lead into this. I spoke with Steve Beery recently, and he's into this. He wants to sponsor the Primal Scream podcast, and he's getting on board with me. So I'd like to thank him for sponsoring me. And this is just not me plugging the club because he is sponsoring me, even though that's part of my dues for doing that. But I appreciate clubs like Mr. Beery's, because you know what? They gave me a chance. They gave my friends a chance. And they didn't fold like the mills, like the other clubs did when COVID was around. The mom and pop places didn't fold. The first place to close was Revolution. Like, they were pumping bands in and out of there week after week, making hand over fist. Maybe because there was multiple owners and people backed out and they couldn't keep it going because of the rent or whatever. But with that being said, Mr. Beery's, 4019 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage, New York. You know what? They give you a shot. Send them their music. If you're an original band, send them their music, because they'll find a night for you. They work with you. I have a great time every time I go there, even when I'm not playing. Between the Kevins, the bartenders, my buddies, they're great. John, Greg Beery, Steve's in there, sitting in the captain's chair from time to time. I'm working actually with Julia on something right now. She's the day wait bartender there. We're going to try to work out some festival coming up. So I always love working with them, because they're for Long Island, they're for original music, they're for original artistry, I feel. So with that said, this Friday, Emotional Fallout and Razor's Edge, they're going to be there. On Saturday, they're having a bunch of bands. It's Staleworth, Earth and Elsewhere, Like-Minded Criminals, Wait and Shackle, and Lapel de Vue. So, again, check out MrBeeries.com. All upcoming shows. It's a great place to hang out, even if you're not going to see the show, because they have other stuff there as well. You know, they have trivia night. They have open mic night. You know, that's on Thursdays. So, and they have drink specials every single day. So go check out Mr. Beeries. While I'm on the kick right now of sponsorship, I'd also like to talk about Cloud 8, Delta 8. They're an official sponsor of the Primal Scream podcast as well. So if you're going to keep it legal and avoid the streets, due to the simple fact you just don't know what's in anything these days, Delta 8 THC works well because it results in the feelings of euphoria, happiness, relaxation without the paranoia and anxiety that comes from Delta 9. So using this product also may be used for medicinal purposes. So for all this info and everything, go to Delta 8, cloud8delta8.com and use Primal 10 to get 10% off your order. Remember, Primal 10, that's the code. You use that, you get 10% off your order. And, yeah, that's great. So I'm already prepared because now I'm going to get into the segment of the armchair detective work. So I got to put my hat on because I am a man of many hats, but the Texas Chainsaw one will live in infamy. So this story right now, the United States Courts of Appeals from the Second Circuit has upheld the convictions of former Suffolk County District Attorney Thomas Spoda and his top aide Christopher McFarland this past Friday. There they are. Right? All right. So these two guys were convicted in December 2019 for corruption charges stemming from their help in a cover-up of a beating of a suspect by police in 2012. Both men were sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2021, which looks like they're going to be doing the remainder of that time. Now, the cover-up is none other than the world-famous, Long Island-famous, the infamous James Burke. Old Jimmy Boy just can't stay out of trouble. Now, this dude is out on the street while these guys covered up and they're still in prison. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this guy, but, like, me and Tony were just talking about this before, and, like, I don't even think, like he was saying too, they have scratched the surface with this guy. Well, anyway, old Jimmy Boy was arrested in Farmingdale for a sting operation, and he was charged with public lewdness, indecent exposure, criminal solicitation, and offering a sex act. Now, when I first read these charges, he was in the park, and he was caught with his pants down, dick out, and he was getting with a sex worker, if you want to be politically correct, and I will say that because sex worker is the new word for the P word. We don't want to talk about that anymore. Well, anyway, he was in the middle of it, so when he got arrested, he was only going to get charged with 3. But because he was mortified because he got caught, he had offered to give the arresting officer a blowjob to get off.
I didn't hear that.
Yes. He told the officer, I will blow you if you let me go. So that's why he was charged with a fucking sex act, offering a sex act. Now, look, I don't have anything against that if that's what you want to do, but it's just great to add that to the resume. Like, how much of a rat weasel fuck do you have to be? Now, all of a sudden, you're... Please don't lock me up. I'll give you a blowjob. You know, like, dude, like, what is going on? Why aren't they looking more into this? Getting back to the whole Rex thing. There is no way. I'm going on record right now, and I've gone on before. There is no way that Rex Heuermann is the only man that's involved with the murders of these victims that they found in Gilgo. Burke is involved. Look into Burke. You know, like, what is it going to take? What is it going to take? Like, I feel like we're dealing with, not to go off the topic or whatever, you have your criminal that's building a case right now. Kind of like how these spree shooters, when they have guns and they come up on the FBI, they let them go. They let them go until they do their final act. Stop this guy before anyone else ends up dead or whatever. He's not a good guy. Just please look into him. Like, I don't know what it's going to take, but unbelievable. He's back in. It's just like when OJ got away with murder, because I believe he did kill Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. He couldn't stay out of trouble. And he ended up doing 7 years or 8 years in prison. Granted, it wasn't killing somebody, but he went back and he drew guns and he stole back his Heisman because they were selling it, which he lost anyway because it was in a civil case. So whoever got that Heisman, I believe it was the Goldman family, ended up selling it to somebody, and now someone else was selling it, but he wanted his shit back. So thinking that he's above the law and with his narcissistic ways, he ended up going into a hotel in Vegas and he got busted. And I feel like the judge, when they sentenced him, were making him pay for his sins that he did not get busted for back in the day. I feel like Burke is going to do that. Burke is just going to continue to just rub himself in the face of all of us and get away with everything that he possibly can until the point where he can't, when he goes over the line. Don't let him go over the line. You already got him. Look more into him. I don't know how much more I have to say about that, but like, I'm very like, I'm agitated. I'm a little aggravated about that, I didn't want this to turn into a whole like, me bashing, Suffolk County Police or anything like that. I think they're doing a great job with this new investigation, the open case right now with, they're doing, looking into the whole, to the wreck stuff and giving you a step-by-step. I feel like they need that. They need to get their name back up there. They got to get the respect back. And believe me, I think by putting this guy away for a couple of dozen years or whatever, I think that would be a nice nudge in that direction if they could get something to stick on him. Like, I don't know what else they need, though. Like, I think that they have to be able to trace him to the Shannon Gilbert thing. That poor girl, man, she's still not talked about, I've been thinking about it, too. Going forward with this podcast and everything and my whole purpose of it. Yeah, I want to keep people entertained, but I also want to serve a purpose and everything. And like, I think I want to have John Ray, the attorney of Shannon Gilbert, on my show. I see that he does appearances and stuff, so I will contact him because I'd like to talk to him and let you guys hear it from his mouth too. He I feel like that poor girl's like never gonna get her justice because it was covered up by Burke and his cronies. And I don't know. I feel like that was just served on a silver platter for them to cover it up. I feel like that was the easiest one to like come to a final determination on how she died and where she died, Just when I went to go see him speak at that library a couple of weeks ago, it just got me I don't know, I can't say ignited but more interested. Like, I just want that poor girl to be able to rest easy, because I feel like, again, she's put on the back burner. They're going to go through, the first 4. Right now it's 3 that he's tied to, Rex Heuermann. But, they're starting to identify some other bodies. They identified Jane Doe Medford the other day. And, again, there's no talk of her. So, like, she's always on the back burner. I'm going to talk more about, actually, the Burke whole tale this upcoming Thursday. I've been invited back to the My True Crime Obsession podcast with Christine. I was kind of excited. She hit me up the other day, and I said yes. So we're going to be doing that at 5:30 on Thursday, and we're going to talk about. Basically, we're going to talk about these new charges, and we're also going to talk about like the history of Burke and like how he got involved with Suffolk County from the beginning. So I didn't really want to talk too much about it tonight, but once I hear that name, it just sets off, man. It's just like pushing a button. I have to go and give my 2 cents about it. This weekend, I'm going to bring this all to a close. This weekend is the final audition for the Schmitz Farm. That's where I limelight as the butcher. They're holding auditions on Sunday at 1 p.m. So definitely check that out. SchmitzFarmHaunt.com. I wish I had some graphic to go along with that, but I do not. But that's okay. I can always put a link on this video, and I could guide you there. But yeah, that's always a fun time. That's how usually my Octobers are spent, at the Schmitz family farm haunt. And again, that's where I met my good friend Mike. We had some great years there. Oh, you got something coming up there, Tony?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah,
all right, that's cool.
Working on something.
Yeah, whatever, man. One of those is cool. That's cool. A little graphic in there. So yeah, they're like I said, 1 o'clock on Sunday. They're going to host another audition and see if you got what it takes to scare the Schmidt out of people. You get to hang out with me. I'm going to be working there 5 or 6 nights this season, and actually, I'm going to have a special guest with me one night, and that's Zozo. She's been wanting to do this. I wasn't sure if she's ready. I feel now she's ready, so she's going to be the butcher's daughter, and we're going to go in there. We're going to tag team people, and it's going to be funny, man. I wish I could just watch her in action because she's a character herself, and I think she's going to do an amazing job. And I'm just going to, live for the moment and enjoy that. And it was a very hard week, but being able to hang out with those people this week, my good friends Scott and Kelly and Lou and, Taylor, Yesenia, we all went out afterwards after Mike's services and stuff. And, it was good just to comfort each other, man, because like I said, he was a close friend of mine, and I am gonna miss him. That going to the Schmitz farm for me is always a great time, and now it's even to carry on his legacy that he's left there is always something. With that being said, just a little bit to end on a serious note. Listen, if times are tough, I get that. Everyone has their demons. I talk about my demons very vocal, all the time. And I feel like that's my way of doing that. Some people can't do that. Some people hold it in. But I don't. I feel like if you need to talk about it and you are shameful to talk about it, or you just don't want to talk about it in person because it's hard stuff, I get that. You could always call or text 988. That's the suicide prevention hotline. It's open 24 hours. So do that, because you don't understand, like maybe what you're feeling right now, you're not going to feel that in a couple months or maybe even the next day. But, if you reach out, there are professionals that can help you and talk about it. I know if I didn't talk about stuff, I would go absolutely insane. And, guys, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I love doing this show. It's so great. And I'm looking forward to doing more. Again, thank you so much for giving me your time tonight. This is Primal Scream with Nick Graystone, and the Nizza is out.
Thank you for listening to Primal Scream. I'm Nick Graystone, aka The Nizza. Each week, Primal Scream is produced by Tony Walker and executive produced by DemonScar. Always remember, nobody writes your story but you. Later.